Good stuff. Ooh. Mm, mm, mm. Good evening and welcome to Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Right here on WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WDLB Indianapolis in Chicago, and WRLNradio.com. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, officially checking in. And coming up in our last hour, yeah, I'm skipping all the way over. Coming up in our last hour, we do a little thing we call foreplay, 4 songs by one of your favorite artists or groups, male or female, here on this show. And of course, if you have one in mind, you can leave it on Facebook, also on YouTube. All right, tell your friends about it. Let's kick it off with one of my favorite artists of all time, whom I affectionately call Dad, because growing up, people used to say I sounded like him. Of course, I don't get it. But anyway, let's kick it off with the maestro Barry White, right here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Mm-hmm. Mm. Welcome to Bedtime Hoagies with Al Greer. Mm. That is good. Mm. 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 Sound like me. I like that. Mm. Thank you. Kate Ray, 14. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. My voice is so soothing. Thank you. Mm. That does a lot for my ego. Thank you. Considering I don't have an ego, my first wife got custody of the ego when I divorced her. Hmm. She got custody of my ego. Lawana, hey, boom, 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 boom. Hey, Lawana. Good evening. Good evening to you. Welcome to Bedtime Hoagies. I mean, stories. Thanks to my sister for, she got me a hoagie and a steak sandwich. Wasn't expecting that, but thanks, Angie. Hey, Pam. Hola. Yes, I'm a grandpuppy. Yes, I am. Or grandpapa, whichever you prefer. Yeah. This is on my glasses. It won't come off. Oh, there it is. Okay. I hope it's not scratched. Hey, Larice. You love me. You really love me. Anyway. So what's on the menu tonight, Larice? I know you like Singapore noodles like I do. And every Thursday, I get the Singapore noodles from this place called Little Wok. Wok. Only because there's a place around the house. It was called Long Tongue. Yes, that was the name of it, Long Tongue. And they closed down. Now they've been open since I've been in Inglewood. And all of a sudden, Long Tongue is gone. I was a little upset there for a minute. I was like, which means I have to go to 51st and 51st in Michigan to get my Chinese food, which I do anyway every Thursday. When I leave the other job, I go, in between there is a little walk on 51st in Michigan, and then I drive down to 59th in Michigan, where I am every Thursday. So, but I'm really upset that Little Walk closed, even though I like not Little Walk. I'm sorry, Long Tongue. I'm upset that they closed. They're right up the street. You had um, what is it? Subway, Little Walk in the middle, and Dunkin' Donuts, where I get my coffee every morning. And then on the other side is the nail slot spot. So I'm like, get my coffee, get my Chinese food, or Subway, get my nails done, and then there's a Sharks over there next to the nail place. So anyway, it's 11 a.m. So I haven't thought about dinner yet. Still in my coffee phase of the day. Mm-mm. I tell you, it's like I spit you out. All my bad habits you have, and most of my good habits, of course. You know, especially that digging in my mouth on camera. But anyway, um, my daughter and I talk about her, mostly every show, right? And she was on TikTok, and she got the ramen noodles, right? Now what comes with the ramen noodles, that little packet, which is like 90% salt. And I'm not supposed to be eating that. So, I try to get the ones that have less sodium and more flavoring. So I found one that has, it's got the little flavor packet. And I don't use all of the flavoring in it. And it has like freeze dried vegetables. So it'd be like corn and I guess whatever, corn and something else. And it's a lot less salt in it. So at my age, I can't do a lot of salt. I can't do a lot of sugar. I don't eat pork anymore. It's just chicken, fish, turkey. Yeah, chicken, fish, turkey, any type of seafood, and that's it. I can't eat the stuff that I used to eat. You know, everything I used to eat, it's like it's a no-no right now. You know, White Castle. I wake up the next day, I'm out of it from eating White Castles. Lady G. Yep. Got to watch my salt intake, my sugar intake, you know, cholesterol, all of that stuff. I get I have coffee in the morning. I gotta have coffee. You know, there is no way around it. Otherwise, someone could get hurt at work. Like this morning, I I asked one of my coworkers, who just happens to be the administrative assistant. I asked her yesterday, "Are you pregnant?" That was not a question I should have asked her. I don't know her that well. Now, everybody else, I know everybody else around the office. I've been out with them, you know, that whole thing, off off the clock. So she came over yesterday, or today, this morning, and she politely told me off. And I was like, I couldn't say anything because, you know, first of all, I don't know her that well to ask her if she was pregnant or not. So that was bad. Hey, it's Brian Henley, um, in Tampa. Shouldn't have asked her that. So make a long story short, I apologized. I really did. I apologized. It wasn't something I should have asked her. You know, you're not cool with everybody that works there. So, I sometimes you have to use the filter. Well, I didn't use the filter yesterday. I just came out and said, "Are you pregnant?" Yeah. Why did I ask her? I was making stupid conversation like most of us men. I was just making stupid conversation, and I did, and it was stupid for asking her. You know, Once again, I don't know her that well to ask her, and if she'd wanted everybody to know, she probably would have put it in an email. But you know, chalk it up to me being a man and not having any filter and thinking that you know we cool. We wasn't cool. And once again, I apologize. I stepped in some. Yes, I did. I certainly did. You know, and once again, us as men, we whatever comes up comes out, and and it did. And once again, I apologize for it because yeah, that's a no. I know, right? I love that. The Whispers, More of the Night, and Dirty Dancing. Actually, that's a mix that I heard someone else do. Somehow, some way, I lost the mix, so I had to recreate it, and I think I did a pretty good job. More of the Night and Dirty Dancing together, right here on Bedtime Stories from the Whispers and or Walter and Scotty. Walter and Scotty did an album all by themselves, and it sounded just like the Whispers. Well, they are the Whispers. These days, it's only him, Walter and Scotty and Lavelle Degree. So, but yeah, more of the night, dirty dancing. It's bedtime stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Hello to Brian Henley Lordson, also to Lady G. Preston Shanks is in the house. And my daughter Larice, it is about 11 o'clock over there where she is, which is South Korea, I believe. Yes. Um, and of course, she hasn't had her coffee yet. Sometimes I think I made her by myself because she has all of my attributes, just about all of them. Yeah. She likes coffee. I like coffee. She loves Chinese food. I mean, she's in South Korea. And, she eats with chopsticks, and so do I. Gee, how about that? Anyway, it's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, with Stevie Wonder and Golden Lady on Bedtime Stories. All right, already. I won't do it again. Okay. Some men know better. I know. It once again, you know, I goofed, I blew it, I I apologized. I was a man about it. I owned up to my mistake, you know, and that was it. I will never ask another woman if she's pregnant or not. I have learned my lesson. So, no, I will never do that again. If she wants to announce it, then fine. If not, it's none of my business. So, and that's just it. Had it been someone else and I asked them, they'd have probably told me, get out of my business. What you looking at, Willis, or whatever. Once again, I'm a big enough man to, um, own up to my mistakes, to apologize. Because, did you ask Perry that question? No, Preston. See that, and that's just it. Perry and I have a whole different relationship. I come in, she's like, "Good morning, you old dirty bastard." I was like, "Same to you." And when will you be going back to the zoo? We have that relationship where it's, you know, you old fart, you old bat. It's like, we're like, Fred and Esther. That is a whole different, thing going on. Um, Darlene and I, Darlene Hill and I, have a whole different relationship other than me and Perry. Darlene is pretty much more open. If I'd asked her if she was pregnant, hell no. Are you kidding me? I'm 57 years old. I wish something else would come out of here. That's her. Everybody else, pretty cool with. Some people you just can't approach them like that. you know. But no, I didn't ask Perry anything. Right. Like Lady G and I, we could talk about just about anything, you know. I know more stuff about her and she knows more stuff about me than most people know about me. Right. Uh hey Angie, you know, Lady G and I would, used to sit up and watch movies together, you know. That was our relationship, you know. We'd watch all the gangster pictures and, you know, what's the other? We watched just about everything, and we were just, we were cool like that, you know. It was more like a, brother and sister type relationship, you know. I we tell each other's business to each other, and that was it. That's as far as it would go, you know. Like I said, there's certain things she knows about me that nobody else knows, that I will never, I will take to my grave, stuff that I wouldn't even put in my book. Yeah. So, like I said, we used to sit up and watch gangster movies, Standing in the Shadows of Motown, The Honeymooners, which I had a fit the other day, and I'll tell you why. When I was watching a movie based on the life of Jackie Gleason, which was starring Brad Garrett, who was like way taller than Gleason was, but he looked like Gleason in the movie. Um, so when they got to the part where they were doing a recreation of the honeymooners, I lost it. And I'll tell you why. When I was a child, the honeymooners used to come on late at night on channel 32, right? And that scene, that animation when you see him in the moon, you see the moon, and then you see, you know, that used to scare the out of me. And I'll be like, "Mom, turn it off! Oh, Jackie Gleason, ah!" So when they did that scene and they showed the animation, they showed the whole opening scene of the honeymooners. I saw it and I yelled out, "Ma, ma!" And I just lost it. I cried the whole time. Why? Because I thought about my mother and me telling her that Jackie Gleason scared me. And that's all I could think of the whole time. I was like, I just lost it. Bang, zoom, straight to the moon, Alice. You know, but they were pretty funny episodes. I mean, one night, Lady G and I sat up and watched the whole season, of the honeymooners, and I remembered some of them, and in the movie they recreated some of them, like when they would go golfing. He said, "First, Ralph, you gotta address the ball. Hello, ball." Get out of here! Get out, Norton. But once again, I saw that and it reminded me of my mom, and I lost it. And there was nobody that I could call and talk me off the ledge. So I ended up just going to sleep. But I'm sensitive like that. And that's one thing that most people don't know about me. They think I'm just this arrogant ball of ego, just walking down the street like I invented radio. That's not me. you know. So the hello ball, the whole arrogant stuff started when I was younger, when I wouldn't talk to people. I just didn't. If I didn't know you, I didn't talk to you. So they, oh, you arrogant? No, I'm not arrogant. If I don't know you, I don't talk to you. I wouldn't just walk up to somebody and introduce myself. Hey, how you doing? I'm Al Greer. You probably know me from the radio. No, nah, none of that stuff. I know I could have. The Blackbirds and Soft and Easy. Before that, Stevie Wonder and Golden Lady right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. It is your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Preston Shanks. Yes, I was triggered on Saturday. I was laying on the couch. I was watching a movie, and the movie was based on the life of Jackie Gleason, right? Brad Garrett played Jackie. He looked just like Jackie. He looked like a tall Jackie Gleason because Jackie was short and pudgy. So they recreated some of the scenes in the original Honeymooners, and I don't know how many people remember the opening scene of the Honeymooners. It was like a little cartoon. You'd see the sun, the moon, and then the moon would turn into Jackie Gleason. And when I was a kid, it would scare me. And I would, yell to my mom, turn it off, because Jackie Gleason scared me as a kid, bang, zoom to the moon. So when I saw that, all I could think of was my mom, and I just lost it. I was like, And I finally went to sleep, after the movie was over. But I'm like, at the end of the movie, I clapped. It was like, it was so good. Brad Garrett should have gotten some sort of award for playing Jackie Gleason because in certain scenes, he looked just like him. He had the hair and everything. The only thing is, he was just too damn tall to be Jackie Gleason. Jackie was like 5'5". He was short and pudgy. Brad Garrett, of course, from Everybody Loves Raymond, was like really tall. So, but he captured the essence of Jackie Gleason. He was the great one. Anyway, it's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed, but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Chiffon Miller asked me, what do I know about Little Ben and the Cheers? I'll tell you after this song by Betty Wright. No pain, no gain on Bedtime Stories. It can happen after the death of a loved one. My mother's been gone since 2020. So, you know, everything about my mother, there's always a trigger. There's always something that, like that song, there's always something there to remind me, it's always something that reminds me of my mom. My dad and I weren't that close. The only thing I got going as far as my dad is I look like him. So certain days I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh Lord, I look just like him. Or certain things that I'll say to my children. I'm like, ooh, that sounds like your grandfather, didn't it? Yeah, I know. I won't say that no more. And I changed my voice up, But it's certain things, I could be cool certain days, but other days, you know, other days I just have to work it out myself, you know. And by me being by myself, it's really hard to, bounce off of someone who has also lost a parent. Like recently, my wife lost her father. So she's going through it real tough because he's only been gone for like a couple of, not even 2 months yet. So it's still fresh in her mind. And of course, I can deal with it better because, my mom's been gone for a while. So I can you know, kind of talk her through it. I said, there's always going to be a point where you want to pick up your phone and dial it and call them. You as much as close as you were, because you were his baby girl. So you were closer to him than anybody, you know, almost as close as your mom was to him. So, you know, they say a little girl's first love is their father. And it's true, their first love. And I have that relationship with my granddaughter. She just, she thinks Pawpaw's her boyfriend. Where you going? I'm like, "Oh, don't let me put my hat on and look like I'm trying to leave the house. Her mother has to say, okay, it's time for you to take your bath. Okay, say goodnight to Pawpaw. And she just look at me like, no, I'm not saying goodnight to Pawpaw. Because Pawpaw's not supposed to be leaving here. So, but, anybody, who grew up with their dad, who's a female, like Ronnie, it doesn't matter how old she gets, she's still her daddy's baby girl. I know that. She told me. And, everybody's like that. Unless their father was abusive to them, just didn't care, that whole thing. Up until puberty, I was a daddy's girl. And that's just it. Um, I believe I believe Larice was like that with me. I believe she still is, because nobody else would understand her. Her mother was like, shut up. Yeah. And she would tell me something. I like, yeah, I went through that too. It's like, you know, I knew what she was going through, especially when it came time for her to go to Catholic school. She said, Daddy, I'm not even Catholic. I was like, I said, I went through the same thing with your grandparents. They wanted to send me to Mendel. So what did I do? I did absolutely nothing. I wasted their money. But I'm not saying that you should do that. I said to her, I said, if you go to this school, you can go to any college you want to because they'll look at your transcripts. They'll see that you had good grades and that you went to a Catholic high school. You can write your own ticket and go wherever and do whatever. And obviously it worked. She graduated from college, uh, graduated from high school, that is, went to college, got, went to grad school, all of that stuff. She's all degreed and doctored up. And, you know, we try to, tell our children to do right. We try to teach them to do right. And I hope that I had an influence on her to do right. Well, fast forward, she ended up marrying her high school sweetheart that she was in the band with. Who knew, right? They were kids in the band. And they ended up as man and wife years later. They knew each other or knew of each other. And now they have two beautiful children. I have two grandchildren by Lori. So, you know. But at the end of the day, she's a daddy's girl. She is. I remember when she was younger, she'd gotten her ears pierced. Well, one of her ears kind of had a keloid on it. So, and of course, I had, my left ear pierced. So I would buy earrings, and when I bought, they don't sell one earring; they sell a pair of earrings. So I take one and I give the other one to her. So, and when she got older, she got both pierced, and then so did I. So, but it's been a long time, and next month she will be another year older. I'm not going to tell you how old she is because then I'd have to tell you how old I am. But then most of you all already know. So, and by the way, Troy, I put that down there as a joke. It's a legendary radio personality. Ha ha. Anyway, but whatever it is, Troy, take it for what it is. Some people think I am, so I let them think that. Anyway, so where were we? Oh yes, Troy making jokes out of people getting killed. But yeah, Ronnie is a daddy's girl. Lady G was a daddy's girl, And of course, my daughter, Clarice. And Brianna, oh, she's the ultimate daddy's girl. She is the ultimate daddy's girl. You know, she will yell across the street if I'm walking across the street, parking the car. Daddy! I'm like, oh Lord. But that's something that I earned. You know, I earned that title. Anybody can be a father, but it takes a real man to be a daddy. You can father as many kids as you want. You don't have to, you know, you can be like I think cats walk away from their families or something, or dogs, whichever species of animal. They just walk away from it. You know, that's it. But I know I've told this story before. She didn't even like me. Now I can't get rid of her and she can't get rid of me. Bum, 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 bum. He was born Michael Jones. He became Kashif. He played with the group BT Express. That is Are You the Woman? Right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed, but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. It is your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, and hello to the exotic MC, Mr. Hypnotic, Lydell Redmond. Thanks for being on my live. We were talking about, you know, people being daddy's girls. Of course, Ronnie is a daddy's girl. You know, her father's still with us. Lady G said she was a daddy's girl up until puberty. And of course, Troy was a daddy's girl too, as well. But anyway, I said, we already know your age, contributions to media, and I still listen to Mr. Rags. You know, and it's funny you should mention Mr. Rags. I was on his show once. We did a feature on his show called Six Pack. And I had everything written out. I had my music and everything. That was the first and last time I was ever on with Jim Rags. I said, I guess this is going to be the first and last time that I'm ever on with you. And he just laughed and smiled. And in his mind, I could hear him saying, no, brother, you ain't getting my job, Al Greer. You're too damn good. I said, if I am, you made me like that. You and Richard McGee and Herb Kent and Jay Johnson and Bobby OJ, all of y'all had a hand in making me so. If I never get on your show again, I had a ball over 12 years ago. Here's the first of two in a row from the Daz Band. This is Invitation to Love on Bedtime Stories. Yeah, I was on with Rags. Rags said, he said, you can't come back. He said it on the air. He said, you can't come back. I was like, damn, Unc, is it like that? You know, I call him Uncle Rags. I was like, okay. Nope. And I was never on his show ever again. That's a true story. Yep, that's a true story. And Rags was the one that encouraged me to stay in the business because I was ready to. Yeah, he's on 106, and I was on 106 with him. Um, you know, he said it on the air. Now, of course, I thought he was joking. Rags was dead serious. It's like, you can't come back. So I truly love him. I really do. It's a bromance that started when I was an intern back in the days of GCI, when GCI and WVON were together in the same building. There was GCI on the FM side, 107.5. And then on the other side, it was AM 1390, WVON still. And Rags was doing mornings. And I remember finally getting a chance to meet him. I said, it's really a pleasure to finally meet you. I've been listening to you for years when you were on at night in Gary at WWCA. And, since then he listens to me, which I think is just weird that he listens to me, right? He used to call me when I was on GCI. And he had the hotline number, so he'd call me. And I had a thing called Al's Gals. He called me one night. I picked up the phone, GCI studio. How may I help you? Hey man, this is Rags. What's this Al's Gal stuff you got going on, man? What do you mean? What are you talking about, Unc? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna start mine back. I used to call mine Rags Dolls. Yeah, I think I'll bring that back and start saying, Rags Dolls. I'm like, me? Little old me? I remember I had a conversation with either him or Richard Steele, and they both agreed that I should have taken Herb's place. Being a student of Herb's. Hey, Red. But of course, that didn't happen, right? They weren't trying to, excuse me, they weren't trying to keep that sound going. When people think of me, they associate me with the WVON good guys. Well, when I was a kid, I listened to them, which is where I got, my style. I listened to Herb at night. I listened to Richard. I listened to, anybody and everybody. Richard Steele, Jay Johnson, Cecil Hale. And I listened to all of them. And I want to say that it's like a tribute to them. Not that I'm trying to imitate anybody. It's just, it just came out. I remember seeing Rags. We were at the Taste Entertainment Center over on 63rd and Love. And one of the owners who just passed, Don Simmons, he said, "Hey, Al, I got somebody I want you to meet." I said, "Who?" He said, "This is Ragman." Well, of course, I already knew him from the days of being an intern, and he remembered me. So when I saw him, I immediately got down on one knee. I said, "Your Highness, may I kiss the ring?" He said, "Al, if you don't get up." It was like that. Rags has always been, he's been that cool uncle. Richard was Uncle Richard. Rags is Uncle Rags. Herb, of course, is Godfather or just Dad. I call him Dad once. He said, "I don't have any kids as old as you are." I said, "What about Robin?" "Oh, you're way older than she is." I'm like, "Gee, thanks." I think way older. So, but it's cool because I every now and then I give him a call. What are you doing? Whatever. He and Sam Chapman, they play cards together. But Rag sounds like he did back in the day. He sounds like he did in the late '60s, early '70s when I listened to him when he was in Gary, and when he was doing mornings on 1390, and when he was doing Sundays on V103. He sounds the same. Why does he sound the same? And I'll tell you his secret, which is really no secret. Rags doesn't drink. Rags doesn't smoke. Rag is probably never done drugs, period. So he's got the same voice that he had back then. All the rest of them did weed and coke and drank and everything else. Not Rags. I've never seen him take a drink. I've never seen him light up a cigarette. And Rags is well into his late 70s, and he still sounds the same way he did back in the late 60s, early 70s. What's going on, my brother from another mother, Tyrone Handy? What's going on, sir? But Rag still sounds the same. Richard Steele still sounds the same. Last time I talked to him. I talked to Cecil Hale, who's down in Atlanta. I talked to Jay Johnson. That's another one. Jay Johnson is like one of my heroes. Him and Donnie Simpson sound just alike. And Rags, they all sound just alike. They got that natural announcer's voice. Even when they're just speaking off the air, they still sound like they do on the air, which is cool. Life is great. You must have went back to work then. He's switching subjects. My pastor had to have hip replacement surgery, right? And he's back to dancing. First he came back to church. He wasn't off that long. But it's all due to the power of prayer. So that's it. The power of prayer. And of course a lot of painkillers. Turn around from the dance band. That is Heartbeat on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Hello to Tyrone Handy, my brother from another mother, also to Preston Shanks, and Ken Wadlington. Ken Dub, what's going on, sir? He said, Richard Pegues worked at Dell Farm with my sisters back in the day. Yep, he sure did. Worked at Dell Farm. He also worked at this record store, the Met Records, where he discovered these boxes of records in the back room. Penny, nickel, and dime records. So he asked his boss, he said, what's up with these records? He said, oh, that was my record company back in the day. And Richard said, hey, we need to reactivate this. And he did. And that was it. So he recreated the record companies and had a couple of hits, Little Ben and the Cheers, Ronaldo Domino, the list goes on and on. Richard Pegues, gone but not forgotten. Back to my pastor. He said, 1 week of church, preached 3 funerals while in recovery. That's what's up. Yep. Dell Farm on 63rd and King Drive. Went with my mother every Saturday morning. That's where Richard used to work. Yeah. Dell Farm and Met Records. Yeah. Once again, gone but not forgotten. He was one of my mentors. We were talking about Jim Rags. I was on Rag's show one time. That was it. He did a feature called Six Pack, and that was the last time I was ever on with him. He said, you can't come back. Gee, what did I do wrong? That's just it. I didn't do anything wrong. I did everything right, just like they taught me. It's climax. I still say yes to you again. It's bedtime stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Do you? Penny, nickel, and dime. I don't know what happened to them. My aunt gave me some of them. I think she had like double copies because she let me have, a few copies of some of the songs that Richard did. And I think I'll play one of them as soon as I go to the bathroom. He's back. But once again, um, people used to always ask me, they said, so you ever talk to Butterball? I'm like, no, I only met him once. And that was it. Um, Butterball didn't want to have anything to do with WVON after they walked everybody out. I think he did maybe one or two interviews after that. A few years ago, when I first started working full time at VON, I asked him to do, an interview, which he declined. I said, well, can you do some drops for me? Saying, hey, this is Butterball. You're listening to. He said, no, I can't do that for you. I never asked him why, but I understood because I saw an interview that he had done a few years ago. And he was still a little, sore about that whole thing at VON. Um, I don't know if you all know, of course, Butterball did middays and going into afternoons. And he was one of the most popular jocks on that station on WVON. Not only was he a popular radio personality, he was also the guy that was responsible for the sound of WVON. He knew about, you know, frequencies and, and equalizers and processors and everything else. And that's where Richard got it from. You know, Richard used to say bass frequencies took up too much space. So if the station was really bassy, it didn't go far, especially the AM stations back in the day. So that's what happened. He tuned the station. The station was 1,000 watts daytime, and I think either 500 or 250 at night. But it was just as loud, because AM stations had to cut their power down at night. Climax with a little help from Howard Hewitt. I'd still say yes to you again, right here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Bedtime Stories, of course, is sponsored by our good friends over at Grubhub. Grubhub is a proud sponsor of Bedtime Stories here on WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WGLB Indianapolis in Chicago, and WRLNradio.com. It is your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. By the way, they're a Ray Neal media station. We're all media around here. Once again, your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Off the air, we were talking about the days of WVON. And Ken Wadlington said, Sir Butterball is devoted solely to WGN Chicago News now. He's in excellent shape and condition. Yeah, he's in better shape than most people his age. He really is. I remember seeing him one time at WVON when we were at 87th and Dobson. It was back when Purvis Band was still here. Lucky Cordell. Of course, Richard Pegee was there. And Lucky Cordell said, yeah, we used to call you Butterball. Now we call you Slim Jim. And Butterball proceeded to get down on the floor and do push-ups. He had to be in his 60s then. He did push-ups. He said, now I'm going to do them on my thumbs. I was like, I want to be just like you when I grow up, man. Preston Shank said WLS AM had a better signal at night. There's a reason for that, Preston. And here's the reason. WLS is what you call a clear channel radio station. There's no other frequency or no one else on that frequency of 8,900 megahertz. Nobody. Now, all the other radio stations, they have to share that frequency with other radio stations out of town. But if you're licensed to the particular city, that's it. You have to check your your coverage area. WLS had no coverage area because they were the only ones on that frequency. Them, WCFL, and WGN are all three clear channel radio stations. It has nothing to do with the company Clear Channel, but they are clear channel radio stations. Nobody else is on those frequencies. So therefore, they can run as much power as they want. WLS was once called the 50,000 watt blowtorch. And that's what it is. When I was a kid, I would listen to WLS all the way in Battle Creek, Michigan. And it came in clear, just like you were, in Chicago. And I listened to them all summer long, WLS. That's how I became a big fan of Lou Jack, Landecker, all of them. Even that guy in the morning over there at LS and GM. Here's the B-side of You're Gonna Make Me Love Somebody Else. So GN, WCFL, which is AM 1000, and WLS, nobody else is on that frequency. So they can go as high as they want. They don't have to shut their power down. All the AM stations had to reduce their power by half at night. Some of them more than half. VON had a 1,000 watt daytime, and they were either 250 or 500 at night. So, but yeah. I forgot how many watts GN is and AM 1000, but I knew that a lot of blacks listened to WLS AM. Yes, they did. LS at one time was one of the most popular stations, not just in Chicago, but in the country, because everybody listened to LS. Everyone knew who Lou Jack was, Bob Surratt, Fred Winston, the king of belch and fart radio, is what they used to call him. You name it, Tommy Edwards. As a matter of fact, if you listen to the B-sides at night on VON, Tommy Edwards starts my show. I asked him a few years ago if he could do a drop for me. One, he did two. The first one he did, he said, this is Tommy Edwards, and you're listening to Al Greer with the B-sides. And then he did another one. He said, and now, in his, because he was a Bulls announcer. So I took that, and of course I put, the Bulls theme behind it. And that's what starts my show, every night on WVON. Bob Surratt is on in the morning. Phyllis, what's going on, Phyllis? Yeah. I listened to WCFL before I found WVON 1450. I had no particular station. I had no allegiance to any particular station. It was either, VON, GRT at the time. WGRT was bought by Johnson Publishing Company and became WJPC. He bought out, I think they were owned by a company called Rollins or something like that. But yes, I listened to Animal Stories with your charming and adorable old Uncle Lair and little snot-nosed Tommy. Hey, little Tommy. And everybody thought, Animal Stories was this big thing. It was like, it was like a farm report. And they got little stories and they, put these stories together. And everybody thought this was just, they thought it was a big thing. They really did. It was like it just blew out of proportion. And they would just read stories. They would get, what they call the farm report. And the farm report became, Animal Stories. Who knew, right? But Larry and Tommy became, close friends and everything. And they were great on the air together, Before the Bad Boys and any other duos on radio, it was Larry Lujak and Tommy Edwards. And they were good at it. They were really great, And it was, it shaped me as a broadcaster because I, like I said, I didn't have an allegiance to a certain station. I didn't listen to the station because they had black folks on there. At that time, it didn't matter. Whatever sounded good to me, that's what I listened to. I listened to GRT until they went off the air at sundown. They had Richard Steele, Don St. John. Who else was on there? I'm drawing a blank. But they had a lot of, popular. Eddie Morrison was on that station too. But then, of course, VON, they were on 24/7. So at night, through all the static, we still heard, the Wahoo Man and the Gym Shoe Creeper and the Electric Crazy People for Rib Supreme. With my good friend Emmanuel Arrington. And Emmanuel Arrington loved my imitation of her. He was like, "Hey man, you want to do that, Herb?" I said, "Yes. Only if you do the joke about the candy bars." And that was it. You know, he would do the joke about the candy bars, and I would introduce him. And now one of the electric crazy people, here's it, Emmanuel Arrington. And that was it. You know, after Herb had passed, we became, buddies, which was kind of cool. Cool indeed. But
This is barbecue Bobby. These are the only ribs that are taste tested.
and most of those were written by Herb. Herb was the most creative person. He was doing a morning show at night, complete with, different characters and everything else. Manuel Arrington, Rudolph Browner. You know, he tried to bring back the electric crazy people, but by that time people wasn't feeling them. The Jim Shoe Creeper and the Wahoo Man, Wahoo Wahoo, that don't scare nobody. So yeah, do fries come with this? Oh man, those were the days. I mean, he always said radio was the theater of the mind, and he put in your mind that these people were actually there, especially the Jim Shoe, not the Jim Shoe Creeper, but the Wahoo Man. He just made it so terribly real that people, little boys and little girls, would go to sleep because they didn't want the Wahoo Man to get them. That's how deep it was. Hmm. Chicago Zone. No, I'm not ready for that yet. Chicago Zone, Herbie Hancock, and Making Love right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. We're sitting here reminiscing about WVON back in the day. And everybody remembers, the Wahoo Man and the Jim Shoe Creeper and all the characters that Herb came up with. And one of the most popular commercials on the station was the one for the Rib Genie. And it went a little something like this.
You crazy people for ribs supreme. Manuel, if you rub those two ribs together, they'll make a rib genie. Oh, very bad. I don't believe that. Do it. Look, it's a 15-foot tall genie. Wow. Hey, this rib genie. Give me a small order of rib supreme, will you?
Dig, brother man, if you want it, I can cop. Saba rock, reba, yeah.
Look, you actually got it. Yeah. Oh, Miss Genie, I tell you what, give me 2 orders of ribs from Rib Supreme.
Right on. Saba rock, reba, yeah.
Hey, shit, you did it. Yeah, you got it. Ain't that something? Yeah. Let me do one. I want 50 big slabs. I want them right now.
It is. Saba rock, reba, yeah.
You got all the ribs. Oh, look here, Miss Rib Gina. I love ribs from Rib Supreme. I tell you what, I want a whole trainload of ribs from Rib Supreme.
Oh, wow. Saba rock, reba,
Oh, I didn't mean it that way. Oh, no. That's Rib Supreme 4900 West Madison.
This is Barbecue Bobby saying these are the only ribs that are taste tested.
Brings back memories, doesn't it? Yeah. And now the electric crazy people for Rib Supreme. That's the original commercial. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, with the whispers. Your love is so doggone good. Do fries come with that? It's always so proud to ride past the WVON building on 87th and Dobson. Really miss them there. I miss us there too. And I don't mind telling you all that it was it was a wonderful place to be. You know, sometimes I never wanted to go home. There were times where I would spend the night there on 87th and Dobson. There were so many rooms that you could sleep in and not sleep in. Yeah, it was. They had so many hiding places. There were so many rooms. The salespeople had their room. Melody had her office on the second floor on the other side of the building. It was just wonderful. And I I got a chance to be in all three buildings, all three locations. Well, four. Of course, the original spot, which was 3350 South Kedzie, they moved to 6 North Michigan. People don't remember that before they changed the call letters and all of that stuff. Fletcher the Cat, yes, yes. Um, they moved from 6 North Michigan to uh, 332 South Michigan, and then they bought out the old WVON and left the 1450 frequency vacant. Purvis Span and Wesley South decided they were going to reactivate the 1450 frequency. And then again, they were on 3350 South Kedzie. And they moved from there to 87th and Dobson. And then finally, where they are now, which is on 800 South Wells. And of course, throughout those moves, Fletcher was with us the whole time. Unfortunately, Fletcher didn't make it. I remember every holiday that I would work at VON as a fill-in. I'd always come in with food, and I would always feed Fletcher. Fletcher was this cat. He was fat. We didn't know if Fletcher was a boy or a girl, but that was Mr. Span's cat. And that was it. Fletcher even had his own Facebook page, which was kind of cool, But we miss Fletcher. Fletcher had his own. He had his own door, which led to Mr. Span's office. So for a while, Terry Bishop was responsible for Fletcher on the days that Mr. Span wasn't there. And then when Mr. Span stopped coming, it was up to Terry Bishop to feed Fletcher. Mr. Span had his own office, but he was hardly ever in it. Fletcher was always in his office. So that was it. Yep, Fletcher had his own office. So anyway, I know, right? Fletcher was asexual. We didn't know. And then one day, Fletcher got so sick, and Terry took him to the vet. They said that probably killed him because Fletcher hadn't been outside since we moved to 87th and Dobson. So Fletcher got outside. He died in the car. It's a true story. Fletcher died in the car on the way to the vet. But Fletcher was just so old, and after a while, Mr. Spance, got sick and he stopped coming to the station. So, him and Fletcher, that was his buddy, I remember, excuse me. I remember, don't do this at home, kids. I remember um, Fletcher was just a fixture at the radio station. He would, he would just walk in the studios. He'd walk around the studios. He didn't make any noise or anything else. It would scare the hell out of the ladies because, they weren't used to animals. And, the whole place smelled like Fletcher, you know. But, Fletcher was as much a part of WVON as Perry Small, Cliff Kelly, Roland Martin, all of them. All of them knew Fletcher. Matt McGill, they all knew Fletcher. Fletcher was the man. Fletcher was the cat, baby. Yeah, he was the cat that everybody wanted to hang out with. Fletcher. And once again, we didn't know if Fletcher was a boy or a girl. Nobody ever thought to pick him up. Except my daughter, Courtney. She picked him up. But she never revealed his sex, her sex, its sex. It didn't matter. Fletcher was Fletcher. And that was good enough for us. Yes, he did. He marked his territory very well. And there was a sign saying, make sure this door is closed or Fletcher will leave you a smelly message. So, yep. And if I mention Fletcher to Melody Span Cooper, she will probably laugh and then lose her mind. Don't bring Fletcher up anymore. But yeah, the whole station smelled like cat. Fletcher. Yeah. Fletcher knew everybody. Fletcher knew Tyrone Davis, Artie Bluesboy White, Johnny Taylor. Fletcher knew all of the stars. Cool Fletcher. We miss him. We dedicate this show to Fletcher the cat. I'm back. Then Fletcher was a male cat because female cats don't do that. Okay. But once again, Fletcher gone, but not forgotten. Here at WVON, celebrating 60 years of broadcasting, and Fletcher. It got so good that I made a commercial with Fletcher. What I thought Fletcher would sound like. Hello, this is Fletcher. You probably know me from the B-sides with Wayne, Insane Wayne. So have a little nip with me, Fletcher the cat. That's what I thought Fletcher would sound like, So, Fletcher, listen to me on the B-sides with Insane Wayne Fields, weeknights at midnight on WVON. Yow. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me. Yep. I gave Fletcher a voice. It was so cool. Yeah, I don't want him to sound like every other cat. I don't want him to sound like a cartoon cat. You know, I want him to sound like a cool cat. Yes. Yeah. Your, lo- your love is so doggone good. From Isaac Hayes and from The Whispers. Same song, different artists, right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. We're just going down memory lane talking about, yeah, radio back in the day. Radio was different than it is now. It was, to me, it was fun back in the day. We had lots of fun. These days, it's just all about business. You know, it's just straight business now, and a little fun every now and then. Especially on the weekends. Anyway, it's I'm not going to say anything about that, just in case the powers that be are listening. You know, we don't want to tell our business, right? Here's Phyllis Hyman. I can't stand living all alone. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed, but never to sleep. Mystic Lady of the Zodiac, come and set us on the winning track. Mona. Wrong song. That's okay. Fletcher. Meow. Meow. I'm Fletcher. You probably know me from the B-sides with Insane Wayne. I can't stand this living all alone. One of my coworkers, I'm not going to say their names. One of my coworkers says, Man, I haven't had sex in about 2 weeks. I was like, just 2 weeks? I said, my nighttime ritual consists of weed and whack. Uh-huh. That's right. Weed and whack. So don't tell me about you not having sex for 2 months. Yeah, okay. I hear you, bro. 2 weeks? Wow. Ooh, that's awful. It's been so long I don't even remember. It was when I first moved into this apartment. That's how long ago it was. And next month will be 1 year. So yeah. Jay Lewis. Oh, you missed it, Jay. I played the Rib Supreme commercial with the Rib Genie. Miss Rib Genie, I want a whole train load of ribs. And where are they now? Where is the Rib Genie? Everybody's gone. Um, Herb, Emmanuel, Arrington, all of them just gone. Rudolph Browner. Yep, those were the days, the golden days of radio. Mm. Playing you live on TikTok while I work. Say hi. Hi. Hi, I'm Larissa's dad. You probably know me from. No, anyway. Hi, everybody. I'm Larissa's dad. Notice the resemblance? No? Well, draw a mustache on her. Okay, now there. Anyway. Anyway. Hi, everybody. Oh, all right. That's enough, Daddy. Okay, all right. I remember when my daughter was born. This is even before she could speak. I took one look at her. I said, I guess we'll both figure this out together because I'm still a kid too. I was. And I'm like, okay, we'll figure this out together. And we did. So, yeah. She will always be my baby, no matter how old she gets. And as long as she doesn't go around telling her age. Oh, I'm on. Phyllis Hyman and Magic Mona. Before that, Phyllis Hyman and Living All Alone. I cannot stand it. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, the father of Louise Jones. That's my claim to fame. Others don't want to follow in my footsteps, so they pave their own, their own path, which is cool. I ain't mad at you. It's cool. Anyway, it's Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Thank you so much for joining us as always. Jay Lewis, he said, thanks for playing Phyllis Hyman. It's not a problem. I had a crush on Phyllis. Boy, I have a crush on Phyllis like I do on Darlene Hill. I don't believe I'm saying that. Anyway, Darlene doesn't like me like that. I'm like a brother. I'm in the friend zone. The friend zone. Anyway. The friend zone. I don't like being in the friend zone, especially with somebody I like. You like that, like with Samantha Thomas. When I first met her, I'm like, you're more like a sister to me than anything. So, and she's, she is. She's like a sister to me. She's real cool. And when she gets married, I hope I'm there. I want to be there for her. I really do. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed, but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time, like this one from Mr. Willie Hutch from the soundtrack of the movie The Mac. This is I Choose You. I choose you, baby. And I'll tell you why. Whoa, 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 whoa. The Friend Zone. Welcome to the Friend Zone, ladies and gentlemen. LaTanya Lynn Garrett. Hey, what's going on, Miss Hollywood? Hollywood. So, LaTanya, where are you working tonight? Is it La Rabita or downtown pouring drinks, or is it the senior home? She got more jobs than me. I'm jealous. Yeah, at work downtown, I'm jealous, girl. You got as many jobs as me. I thought I was the hardest working man in show business, in radio, and talk shows and stuff. But that's okay, when you're like me, without a mate, it's easy to work because you don't have to answer to nobody. I am good. How are you? And you don't have to answer to anybody. You get up and you go to work. You come home and you go to bed. You get up and go to work, come home and go to bed. And some days you get up and go to work, then go to work, and then you come home. So, and you don't have to answer the number. Where you been? Work. Oh, okay. And that's it. That's my whole life, Sad as it sounds, radio is my life. You know, I have to make plans to do stuff. On Saturday mornings, where I should be, you know, doing something. I'm trying to sleep all morning. Because like this morning, I woke up. What time was it? It was like 8 o'clock. I'm like, why am I waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning? I don't get up until 10 o'clock. I don't have to be at work until 11. So it's like I lay in the bed. It takes me 15 minutes to get ready, another 15 minutes to get out of the door. By that time, it's 10:30, and I'm on my way to work, and that's it. I, once again, I don't have to answer to anyone. I don't have to tell them where I'm going because 9 times out of 10, I'm at work. And people will call me in the middle of the day. Hey, man, what you doing? Working. Or they'll call me on Sunday. You must be in church. So if you knew I was in church, why'd you call? Why would you do that? Why would you interrupt me? I'm getting my praise on. Hallelujah. Don't bother me on Sunday. Unless you on fire or something, I'm like, really? I'm serious, Pam. It's like, you know how it is. What you doing? I'm working. Just like you. I know you're working. So I would not call and interrupt you while you are, lifting and Ubering. It's like, what you doing, girl? Oh, you driving? Oh, okay. Hey, I wanted to, no, ain't no talking. Like you gotta keep that GPS on, and listen to the directions. You don't have time to talk to nobody. Plus, you have to be part driver and, part listener, in case the person you have in the car, your client or whatever they call your customer, ask you a question. You can't be on the phone because you'll get a low rating. I know I've never done Lyft or Uber, but it's like they grade you after you get out of the car. It's like, how was your ride with so and so? I'm like, they talked on the phone the whole time to some deep voice mother, and that's it. So you have to keep your eyes on the road and your ears on the GPS, and that's it. Which makes for a a lousy love life. It's like, okay, I'm off now. Can you come to that person's house and go to sleep? It's like, hey, I've been driving all night. I understand. Hey, I understand. Nobody understands more than me when you're tired, and people like to bug you. When I have a couple of friends who have retired. Hey, man, I know you're working, so why'd you call? Or, hey, man, what you doing? Man, I got to tell you something. I'm working right now. I got a call today, in the middle of the day. He's telling me about his wife, and I'm like, you sound like you working right now. Well, yeah, I'm working on tonight's show for the B-sides, It's going to be a tribute to Prince. Because at midnight, Prince would have been 60, 65, 66 years old. So, and he keeps talking, and, I'm listening, but I'm not really listening because I'm trying to, put my show together, and I'm listening, and it's like, yeah, yeah, that's right, man. You can say that again. I heard that. Those are my responses. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Man, you preaching to the choir. I don't know what the hell he just said. I just don't. You know, and it's not personal. I'm working. Yeah. With a little help from Charlie Wilson and Shirley Murdoch. That is Roger and Zap. Computer Love, right here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. It's a show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed, but never to sleep, with the greatest love songs of all time. Bedtime Stories. A name that I took from somebody else, one of my former students. It's like, you don't mind if I use that, do you? Go ahead. Okay. So, Bedtime Stories, it is. Did I trademark it? Nah. Anybody can use that. But when I Google myself, it comes up. Al Greer Bedtime Stories. But if I just put in Bedtime Stories, a whole bunch of books come up, with bedtime stories in them. So it's kind of cool. I ain't hating. I'm never hating. Coming up in 12 minutes, foreplay. Right now, another one from Roger and Zap. This is I'm Gonna Be Your Man, Baby. That is Charlie Wilson. It is. But at the time, they couldn't use his voice. They didn't give him credit for it. Because Charlie was already under contract with Mercury Records. So they could not use his name on the record. So it's Charlie Wilson, Roger, and Shirley Murdoch. Yeah. Charlie Wilson. Yeah. It was the same thing with when Stevie Wonder did Part-Time Lover, where Luther did the scat on it. Luther was under contract, and it was just something he did for Stevie, and it was like, Luther Vandross, courtesy of Epic Records. So, no, Roger couldn't sing. You're thinking of Mookie Wilson. Roger could not sing. He's singing, but he's singing through the tube. That's the only way he could sing. He's singing on I Want to Be Your Man, but it's like we'd never heard his voice before. Every time we hear his voice, it's no bounce, no bounce, no bounce. So he made a whole career out of singing through a tube and a keyboard. So he asked Charlie Wilson to sing on the song with him, and he did, and that was it. So, yeah. What you said, don't hate, participate. Yeah, but Roger didn't have much of a singing voice, so that's why he used the talk box. So he's singing both with the talk box and with his own voice. But you can tell the difference, right? So anyway. Wanna be a man. I didn't know that Luther was on the Stevie. The things you've learned. I know, right? I know. Yeah, that was da 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 da. Part-time lover. That's Luther scatting. Da 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 da. Yep. Didn't know, did you? Yes. And I think there was uncredited in the video. You see Stevie doing it, but it's not Stevie's voice. So, but quiet as kept. Stevie was a big fan of Luther. You know, Luther heard his version of "Creepin'." He was like, I like that. We gotta do a collabo in the studio, and that was it. That was the collabo. But they could never record together like a whole album or something like that. Stevie was under contract with Motown, and Luther was under contract with Epic Records. So, there was never time for them to get together, even though they had admiration. I can't believe what happened to Roger and his brother. It's one of those things where you knew it was coming because, his brother was fired. Roger didn't want his brother to be his manager anymore because, how people get greedy, like, kind of like Whitney's father, Whitney Whitney's father took her money and started a whole company, Nippy Incorporated. That was her nickname, Nippy. So he started a whole thing. And that was it. It was like, and he was skimming off the top. And that was it. But Roger's brother, it was inevitable. And at one point, Roger was doing most of the work in the studios. So that was it. So, yeah, that was tragic, Roger tried to fire him. They drove around the block. His brother shot him. Drove some more, and then he shot himself. Which was, talk about tragic. And, Roger was just so, he was so talented. It was ridiculous. He was so talented. So talented. It was, yeah. And that was it. Roger Moore was the best James Bond. Thank you, Troy. Roger Moore. Okay. Roger Moore. Shalimar, and I don't want to be the last to know. Right here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Once again, hello to Greg Beasley and Jay Adams. Thank you so much for being on my live. I really appreciate it. Bedtime Stories is sponsored by our good friends over at Grubhub. Mm-hmm. Grubhub, a proud sponsor of Bedtime Stories here on WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WDLB Indianapolis in Chicago, and of course WRLN Radio, a Ray Neal media station. It is time for foreplay. And I don't think I've ever done this guy in foreplay because it's hard to choose four songs that kind of define this gentleman. Born in Saginaw, Michigan, actually, when he was born, he got too much oxygen, which detached his retinas, which left him permanently blind. Of course, he went to school to learn how to play instruments, which he did. He was discovered at age 13 by one of the members of Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. He said out loud, not knowing that Smokey was standing there, he said, "I could sing better than Smokey." Smokey politely said, "Okay, let's see what you got, kid." Since then, of course, him and Smokey have been the best of friends. He recorded for Motown since he was 13, 14 years old. His first big hit was called Fingertips and was recorded right here in Chicago at the Regal Theater. And that became one of his first hits. And he's been doing it ever since. He owns a radio station in Los Angeles, KJLH, kindness, love, joy, and happiness. By now, you know I'm talking about Stevie Wonder. I almost said Smokey. Stevie Wonder tonight in foreplay. From the album Fulfilling This First Finale. Try saying that fast 3 times. Here's Stevie Wonder in the spotlight on Bedtime Stories. You smile, I say you stay beside me. Dayton, Ohio produced so many dope funk artists. The Ohio Players, Son Slave, Zap. Yep. Sure did. Absolutely did. Yep. Yep. Dayton was like a hub for them. Yep. Yep. Zap, of course, was in the shadow of Ohio Players and, of course, Bootsy and his brother, Catfish, who basically discovered Roger and Zap. Bootsy was the one that suggested they sign a contract with Warner Brothers Records. and went on to help them produce their first album. Which was simply entitled Zap. Boy, you're funny. So many dope fiends that smell funky. You're funny. Yeah. But let's not forget, even though they weren't from Dayton, they were from nearby, and that was, of course, the OJs. Yep. DJs, the OJs were from Canton, I think. Not far from Dayton, Ohio. Yep. Love is so amazing. You will be staying into my dreams. In my dreams. Woo! Lady G. But there's something about your love. Knocks me off my feet. And I love you, I love you. More and more. How's Cliff doing? Cliff Kelly doing these days? Cliff is doing well. He's up in age, but he's still doing his show on Saturdays. America's Heroes Group. with Cliff Kelly. Cliff would have still been on the air, but yeah. But he's getting up in age, but he's still as sharp as he ever was. Still sharp. Mm-mm. But yeah, I haven't. Cliff hasn't been to. Well, Cliff's been to the station. I just haven't been there when he was there. But once again, he's still sharp as he ever was. He's just a little slower now, but his mind is still quick. The mind is still there. Cliff is still the man. I don't care what nobody says. Cliff is still the man. Old Uncle Cliff. The governor of talk radio, Cliff Kelly. Got to tune in the Cliff show. Is it on after Dorothy's show? He comes on around 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturdays. Yep. But once again, still sharp as always. Cliff is still the man. My two. Saturdays at 3. Yep. Yep. Cliff Kelly. Nobody ever thought it would be here. I love that song. From Songs in the Key of Life. And a ribbon in the sky. There's a ribbon in the sky. Ribbon in the sky. It's ribbon in the sky. Do 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 do. Ribbon in the sky. Then a lucky chance. It will be you and I. Mhm. Good evening, Miss Hill. How you doing? I am great, Miss Hill. I cannot complain. I have no complaints. Wrapping up foreplay on Stevie Wonder, there's been a rumor going around that Stevie can actually see. There was a uh, somebody had posted something where Stevie took off his glasses and you could see, his eyes, and not a pretty sight. I don't think he can see out of those things. Trust me. People keep saying, okay, Stevie can see. He's got a great sense of smell. So once he gets around you, he knows who you are. Shaq said he was in an elevator with him once, and Stevie said, "You ain't fooling nobody, Shaq." I'm like, oh. Shaq said, "Stevie can see, man. He just be playing with y'all. He can see." Stevie has done so many songs. It's ridiculous. Some of the songs that he's done, people cannot imitate. They say because he sings in a key that nobody else can actually sing in. And I don't believe that. I think anybody who's a good singer can listen and pretty much imitate Stevie. Not well, but they can, they pretty much can imitate him. Anyway, here's another song from one of the greatest albums he ever made, which was Songs in the Key of Life. This is If It's Magic, Why Can't It Be Everlasting? I am well, Miss Hill. Yep, couldn't be better. It's almost bedtime, for real. I'm going to run and jump in the bed. Just jump in. Sing it, Stevie. Overjoyed. I'm going to get in the bed and watch Alice and Three and a Half Men and go to bed. Yep. And that's it. Ooh, excuse me. Overjoyed. Some of the greatest love songs were written by Stevie Wonder. That is Overjoyed, right here on Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. I had to do two more from Stevie just because one of the greatest performers ever. I tell you, I never, a lot of people, they say they like one artist over another. Who would you put up against Stevie? I'd say, well, I guess Luther, like, or Smokey or whatever. But Stevie, Stevie can play. Stevie plays drums, and it amazes me that he plays drums better than I do, and I can see, but he kills it. He kills it. I saw him in a concert, and somebody posted it on my Instagram page, and he was just killing it. I'm like, man, I know he plays keyboards and everything, but Stevie can kill it on the drums with no problem whatsoever. Anyway, these guys kill it too because they got their name from Jermaine Jackson, who pretty much discovered them because he saw them and they switched instruments. So, of course, he gave them the nickname Switch. Do 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 do. Shh. Sing, Bobby the Barge. The Barge. share my world. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Give me some more. Girl, calling all girl. Calling all girl. Let me get some more. It's gotta be someone to take this hurt away. I heard that. Me either. That has got to be one of the best songs ever. Y'all don't understand it. Every time I play it, it's like I get emotional. There are like 3 or 4 different backgrounds going on. Wow, Bobby Brown, good Lord. Bobby DeBarge and Philip Ingram are just leading that song. Wait a minute, let me back it up just a little bit. Can I back it up just a little bit? Like right here. In the world, girl, girl, calling all girl. Then you got yeah, yeah, girl, girl. You know I want you. There's gotta be someone to take my hurt away. It's like 3 different backgrounds going on at one time. Good Lord. How do they perform that in concert? You can't. You just can't without another set of background singers. It's like 3 different ones going on. Girls, girls calling, oh, girl. And then you gotta need you. You know I want. There's gotta be someone to take my hurt away. And then it's yeah, girl. It doesn't get any better than that. Switch, calling all girls. right here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. I just love that song. One of my favorites by Switch, bar none. Here's another one of my favorites. Looks like I'm not the only one that loves this song. The other person is Darlene Hill at VON. She loves this song too. She was like, Al, you've got to play this song. I said, well, whatever you want, Darlene. All right. That's what I said. The late, great John Watson. Johnny Guitar. Come on with it, Johnny. Fell in love so fast. Gonna last. Ta-ta, you baby. Thank you. I wanna ta-ta you, baby. I wanna thank you. Yeah. Wanna ta-ta you, baby. I wanna thank you for being mine. Oh my. Boom, 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 boom. Remember when I first saw you, baby. How I wish that you were mine. What you do? What you do, Johnny? With the man upstairs. I said, Lord, won't you please make her mine? Yeah. Ta-ta, you baby. Come on, baby. I want to thank you. Oh, you baby. Ba-da-ba-da. Wanna ta-ta you, baby. I wanna thank you for being mine, mine. Come here, guitar. In this whole round world, for me, but you, you. Ow! Come here, guitar. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. I wanna ta-ta you, baby. For being mine. I'm gonna ta-ta you, baby. Mm-hmm. Like you would. Woo, woo, woo. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. He took Jump, Jump blues, and made that ish funky. Yes, he did. Johnny Guitar Watson from the album Ain't That a You Know What? Since I Met You, right here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Alan Greer, just winding down. And about 11 minutes left. I got a song that I want to play. Back in the day when I was working at a place called Roll Arena, we used to play this song. And it was Blue Eyed Soul. It was from a white group. At that time, um, well, I believe one of them was white. I don't know. Maybe they weren't. I don't know. But I remember playing this song at the Roller Arena on 103rd. I think it was 103rd at Calumet at the time. And well, it's a beautiful song. It's long as I don't know what. This might be the last song that I play tonight, but I'm gonna let her rip. Dalton and Dewberry, till the day I started loving you, right here on Bedtime Stories. Mm, mm. Dalton and Dewberry. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, mm. Till the day I started loving you. Started loving girl. Till the day I started loving you. It started loving you. Till the day I started loving you. Living girl. Till the day I started loving you. Till the day I started loving you. Oh, oh, Good night, Ken. Oh, I started living, girl, till the day I started loving you. What's when you started living, girl, till the day I started loving you. Oh, oh,
With the whole world at my command.
oh,
I thought
started living good. Till the day I started loving you. Never really started living, girl. Till the day I started loving you.
So much. Well, I'm giving you that. Yeah, please, please, please. I swear it's true.
Oh, I
I love you so much more than all the rest. And now I feel that I can live for love and you.
never started living, girl. Till the day I started loving you. Never really started living, girl. Until the day I started loving you.
The day I started
Loving you. It topped the charts for 5 weeks. Well, not really topped it. It landed at number 76 for 5 weeks in 1979, the year that I graduated from high school. Dalton and Dewberry, Till the Day I Started Loving You. That's it for me. Thank you so much for staying up with me, Lawana, Miss Hill, Ken Watlington, Jay Lewis. Did I forget anybody? Just everybody. Thank you so much. Miss RB, that's my daughter, Makaira. Also, Phyllis Malloy Bender, Della Williamson. I didn't even see her tonight. Lawana Trailer, of course, Preston Shanks, and all the rest. Thank you so much. We do it again tomorrow, right here on Bedtime Stories. Till next time, blue skies, green lights, and peace. Good night, Miss Delicious. Good night, everybody. Ladies and germs. Green lights and peace. Good night, Miss Delicious. Deuces.